And coming into this buy round, it's very important for Crazy Raccoons to get on the board and do it relatively convincingly. Because, yeah, as we see, that was a Prime Gaming flawless round from X10.
Yeah, the best you can get. I think for them especially, after what was some, as said, shakier rounds that ended up slipping away from them in the previous series that could have really made the difference of even just taking a map off one of the teams that we expect to be like a challenger for the title. Now, though, it's going to be a little bit more aggressive. We haven't seen too much from Munchkin just yet. The run it back, I think, is going to be a huge part of his play when he's able to get it in check. We're seeing all of this deep utility thrown. Like, this is being conquered quite regularly now by X10, and I almost want to see just Munchkin let off the leash, maybe set up a little bit more to try and find some of those openers, because we know he has the ability. We've seen it already over the last couple of days.
That's a lot of utility, man. A lot of utility. Used the double snake bite to clear the right corner. I mean, they must have been so sure that there was not only a player, but not a jet, you know, in that corner. And they're still clearing it. Like, you can just put down a guiding light, right? Put it in the corner there if it doesn't see anyone, you're clear. I like the dash. I like the play. Fox, he is here today. Crow's coming in with more. The flash is so good, but it only gets Munchkin one. And with that, Crazy Raccoons around that they needed.
More aggressive on the other side of the map with the jet peeking out, but at this point, it needs to be more than that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, when you're losing that much map control in the early rounds, as we've seen almost consistently now, and we've seen the adaptation, because Crazy Raccoons wanted to play, okay, pistol round, you know that you're going to be up against Gravity well and long, more than likely, but they have the jet there to try and still contest for that control. Then they adapt to a more passive A play. That doesn't work out. And this time, even more so. It's the C site where they want to get that kind of early information, and they're playing back on side on A. Doesn't work out either. We need some serious adaptation coming out from Crazy Raccoons. But it's also difficult because you look at what X10 just did. They double snake bit, I guess. Snake bited wouldn't be the right way. The right corner. Like, that's... You can't do anything unless it's your jet there. You're pretty much dead. You're vulnerable. You're losing HP. If you stay there, you run out, they're going to kill you. So actually contesting for that control, especially when there's an Astra there, imagine they double snake bite and then they gravity well on your exit. There's no way out. You're dead. So they'd have to assign their jet there. And that's just to maintain control for even a second. And then you probably have to dash out and concede it anyways. So there's definitely something that needs to be done about that, because right now X10, they just feel in themselves like, oh, this is free, let's keep on taking it. And even if they want to finish on the C site, you see what it does to the defenders' rotations, where they've constantly had 3 players on A in the early stages of the round because of that absolute absence of info.
Yeah, I'd quite like to see them attempt some of the like cool different Astra combos we've seen with the gravity wells. Like, I know they've got themselves the Sova on the other side. We've seen some shot dart combos. We've also seen quite regularly Molotov combos coming out from the hot hands on Phoenix, just to try and deny some of that early space, not allow them to go all the way in and like throw down that utility, pop out the snake bites, like just deny them even from getting the lobby control. I think that's something, if you watch, for example, version 1, they're exceptionally good at using the Viper. So we'll see what the change is going to be. They've actually placed the operator down there in the early stages of the round. So instead of having all these different setups, it's just going to be Zephyr go kill. But unfortunately for them, you have the time to talk things through. So do X10. They're going straight back to this mid take once more.
Yeah. Lock it, load it. Time to go on in. And okay, we've seen the 3-man start on A site. 1 player in Garage, 1 player C. So there's all that Killjoy utility to stop a B push. Instead, they're going to redirect themselves. Moving into C. This is where you've got to show up with that Sheriff, and, well, it ain't going too well. Rihanna Net straight out of this one, and the ranged fights, they are so heavily in favor of X10. The operator tries to bridge the gap, but with a missed shot, it might be time to bail out of there, especially because Zephyr doesn't have the dash. Maybe he tries to go for a peek on site and dash out of there, but when he doesn't have the dash in play, he's back to spawn. He's running away from there because you cannot afford to lose that weapon. Even if you got 3 kills at the state of the X10 economy right now, that would not be a good trade if you're Zephyr. So saving this weapon, #1 priority, while Munchkin, he tries his best.
I think the man could get 10 kills, and I don't think it would save him if he lost the operator. Like, it really is a huge financial burden, and there's no way he gets out of it. Perfect positioning from Sushi Boys, and that's 6-2 now for X10. Now, of course, this is their map choice, but going into the next one, like, we know that they're actually pretty comfortable playing Icebox at the moment, and I don't know. I'm not feeling too good for Crazy Raccoon right now. As said, still early. I think going onto that attacking side as well could make a fairly big difference, like when you do have the ability of Jet and Phoenix to get you those openers. But there's a hell of a lot of utility on the other side that is going to be used to deny them and make things very, very awkward, choke them out of a lot of these rounds. Again, though, it seems like they're going to try and rely on Zephyr to do a slightly better job of challenging for this A control. But it's very patient once again, Mitch, from the default coming out from X10.
Yeah, it is. And this is the thing. We've seen them go for the more aggressive A plays like a number of times, almost in a row. And now they're going back to this Viper wall down, but we talked about the counter to this potentially being that push down short, and Zephyr has been uncontested on this for now at least. He destroys the Trailblazer, realizes it's time to run away because he was likely to get hit with a stun or a gravity well and challenged by 2 or 3 players. So now that control is conceded, they at least have to pay for it. They use up an Astra Star as well as a Trailblazer. It's not amazing, but it's something. It's definitely better than what we've seen in the past. Although the drone going down gets the information on one player, it's not really that valuable at this moment in time. Anybody could have guessed there's someone around short. The question is, are they looking to push it? And with no information on C or Garage or B, like aggressive, I mean, outside of the part of the map that's theirs from the start of the round, this is going to be pretty tough to get those rotations in on time. Again, we've talked about these 3-man A stacks, but they haven't really done anything for Crazy Raccoon so far.
30 seconds left.
Push coming in. Zephyr in a good position. The dart's actually perfectly placed. They use it as a direct counter to try and hold that player back. Munchin catches one, but Medusa just goes running in, and now Cruz has found another onto Zephyr. It started off so strong, but they just get too aggressive, make a silly mistake, and that's going to be enough. The spike planted, 1 player left. Neff, as said, I think he's excellent in a lot of these clutch situations, but a 1v4 pushing back into the A site, I don't think he's that good.
They just got a free kill. They didn't even mean to kill the guy in the corner. I think it was Medusa, because the Munchkin ulted, ran at them, right? He's in the cloudburst, so they spray into it. They destroy his ult, and the next bullet headshots his teammate who was right behind him. And he had actually ran into his path, you know? And that guy's in the corner. He's sneaky. He's like, I'm going to catch them on a sideline whenever they come out from the choke point. And then his Phoenix just runs right in front of him like, hey, shoot at me, shoot at me. That's so unfortunate. And we saw in the previous round, obviously, we had the Prime Gaming Flawless. And you know why they call it that? Because it puts your economy in a prime position. Look at that. That's just sickening. Maybe he had an iota that the player was in the corner because he did adjust through the smoke. Another, like, it's just sickening for X10. And it's one of those rounds that you pull these out every now and then, but at this stage of the game, in the context of where we are right now, that pretty much says it all. This is a very deflating situation to be in if you're Crazy Raccoons.
I think it's worth noting as well that the flashbangs coming out from Cruz just seemed to be so spot on, because there were so many players that were just completely blind in that moment, had no idea where to look, where to go. He was one of the players the desk highlighted need to have a better performance, and looks like that's the case. Now, a slight adaptation here with a push down C long. It's not been something that's pressured too regularly. Of course, I think if he goes much further, he will meet one of the players from X10 once more. But that's a very good start. A weapon retrieve from Munchkin. He's a player we know, well, he's the highlighted player again for a lot of the people on the desk. But they need something here. 7-2 down.
Yeah, no, they need something, and at the moment, at least, it started out well. And now they're coming in the form of Crows falling. Okay. It's something to play with here for Crazy Raccoons. And Zephyr, oh, nice shot to Scary. Okay, we're back in the driver's seat here, but X10 have a potential 2v1 fight. It's Medusa, who only has a Sheriff, a shock dart through to tickle them up. There's the recon, but Fox takes him down. Now the plant can come through, but Fox has taken quite a bit of damage in the meantime. The flank, oh no, was that a fake updraft? I like it. Trying to get the players to peek out on short, and Sushi Boys able to pick up one. one. Fox, Vandal in hand, looks for the headshot. Munchkin able to sideswipe, and so it's all down to the 31 HP Jet player, but Munchkin deals with him. A nice round for Crazy Raccoons. Better late than never, and with only 7 rounds for their opponents, I say only, that's obviously a lot in the context of 10 rounds, especially with how they've gotten there, but they can pull it up to 5. They won't be in the worst spot coming into the next half.
No, for sure. And these are the sort of plays that we were hoping for from Munchkin as well. That was his round. An opener that gains him a rifle, which closes out the round at the end, and the flash, Padipan try as he might, you are not going to be able to dodge that one. So being a little bit more proactive, not allowing all of this space to go in the favor of X10, and, well, hopefully, for the sake of the match at least, this is going to be a little bit of a turning point for the defensive side. The one issue is, of course, that on the other side of things, they've had so much cash for a ridiculous amount of time that this is not going to be a problem.
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly what we said, right? Their economy is being put in a prime position by those Prime Gaming flawless rounds. See what I did there, Tom? Do you like that? I like it.
You got your extra plug. Well done.
This is just revenge for all of those EU days we've had in Challengers, Tom. You've hit me with so many puns again and again. I have to try to think of ways to get back at you.
I don't know what you mean.
Somehow. Oh, no. Sushi Boys gets traded out, though. That's such a good push. I love that. Munchkin ults down to get the information, and they trade from up above. And at worst, they get free control by him just running down. If they've all left, well, at least they've got that information. Gorgeous play to start it off, and now it's a 5v3. X10 on the back foot, but they're going to look to recover this with a beat push and a Viper's Pit to completely cut out the A-side heavy play that we've had consistently coming through. Now as they look to re-enter into the site, they're going to have to deal with this Viper, but Padipan's all alone. Now they know exactly where he is. The spams are coming in. He's 27 HP, but he saw the barrel now coming in through the Viper's Pit. A brave play, left with just 18 HP after the decay. But luckily, they come out on top. That was tight.
Yeah, a nice try from Padipan at the end. 3 kills in a round that was looking pretty much dead, but I agree. That utility or that ult combo that we saw at the very beginning, the bait and switch, the player up above, they've started to take a little bit of control back, started to fight back versus some of these players, and it's looking like Crazy Raccoon might not be out of this one just yet. I also think their utility usage as they tried to push into the site, it just seems like Rion now has started to come into his own, maybe got a little bit more comfortable with some of the utility on that Astra, just denying them that extra few seconds they need to get into the afterplants with the gravity wells.
You can see that value starting to really chain together, and we said, you know, that buy round that they lost with like the spam through the cloud burst on A site, then in through the Astra smoke. It really sucks when you lose a round like that, because those sort of things are almost out of your control when some of those RNG kills come in. And in a round where you were on a full buy, a last-ditch attempt, your opponents have a load of money, they're ahead of you in the half, then you're forced onto pistols that you lose in a pretty flat manner, as you kind of expect. That puts you in a really bad spot mentally when your opponents hit 7 rounds off the back of that. But Crazy Raccoons have bounced back. They're relying on their gameplay, and we've already seen in the rounds they're losing, and a great example of the counterplay that's coming in, of the fact that they're adapting to their opponents, was that recon dart that they put through into the cloudburst ready for the dash up draft. That was beautiful, and that level of adaptation is something that solidifies them as a top team within the region, but they're going to need so much more to come back into this, and it starts with this buy round. And X10 are calling a tactical pause to make sure that they put the final nail in the coffin to finish this half 8-4.
Yeah, it would definitely set them up nicely, especially as it gives them that buffer. We know that the pistol follow-up round in most cases is going to get you that 2-round net. So if we do go in at 7-5, switch sides, pistol win, Crazy Raccoon could even be in the driver's seat, depending which way you look at it. So they're going to want to try and get themselves that extra bonus. Again, we're going to see the early dart. Try and give them a little bit of extra information. Fox is as well picking up the operator, but it's looking like a potential battle. They know that Zephyr has been looking to try and get aggressive in some of these early round scenarios. And for now, it just seems like a bit of a stalemate. Both teams playing a little bit more patiently, a bit more cagey, you could say.
I do really enjoy the Viper wall down on A long because You think about how this map was played so oh, hold on. Oh, I thought we were about to get that jet v jet battle, the op versus op, but no. We've been robbed of that a lot of the time, right? These pushes have been so fast and off so much utility that the op v op duels haven't really come in. But a lot of the time in the old Haven meta, we would see like, you would recon long and then you would hold it. One player holds the A site. It's free. But then we saw the Cloudburst adaptation, and now with Viper taking a better position in the meta, the wall down means that once you activate that, the guy can't hold A long. And unless you're going to contest it from short, which is very aggressive, you're losing the control at the start of the round. It's really nice. I love that spam from Neth to destroy the Seekers coming for him, and Zephyr picks up Crows. That's a great start to the round, but he's kind of isolated on the site, still with a dash to play with. That gets pulled out very early on. Cloudburst into a shorty for the close range duel, and that pays off. Oh my God, Zephyr, what a round. Not an adaptation we see all too often, and Patapan, he's left alone and shock darted to death. What a great recovery by Crazy Raccoons in this half.
Yeah, I remember being in the green room yesterday, chatting away while the match was on, and Golden Boy saying, "You've got to buff the shorty." I don't know. I think Zephyr's still got it down to a T. His positioning able to make it work, and that was what this round was basically about. Him staying alive in pretty awkward positions because they actually put a grab well on him to try and hold him back from retreating out of that spot. And I'm sure Sushi Boy is not going to be too happy about that one, but a real recovery there. Like, it was looking like a really rough half, 7-2 down, a resurgence coming back in from Crazy Raccoon, and hey, Mitch, game on.
The adaptation as well, because long is blocked off, you have this comfort level where after that first shot is fired down into Garage, he's actually comfortable enough to not dash out of position and instead to just cross traditionally until he takes another fight, getting him that one extra op shot. Now, it didn't connect a kill, but he could take the risk and potentially put his team in an even better spot before he went to the shorty play. Overall, gorgeous round by Crazy Raccoons, and this map, it's not disappointing. The pistol round, oh my God, it's a brawl. They are just going for it, sending it down through A long, and it looks like Zephyr's gonna have to have some heroics yet again. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the HP to make the 1v4 happen, and so 8 will go on the board for X10. The potential for a free conversion and an equalizer from Crazy Raccoons now gets a little bit more difficult to make happen.
Yeah, I think the plan there was actually for that to be a pinch with the players coming through mid as well and catching them off guard. They just killed everyone before the pinch even got there, just destroyed them on the push. Also had the extra denial of using those snake bites, not so much for the later round retakes, but to actually just take away that space altogether, not allow them to really find anything in the early stages of the round. So solid stuff from X10. I'm surprised to say that I'm actually really enjoying Patapan on Viper, which I thought was something, considering so far we've seen him play Sage as anything but a Sage, like just using the walls to boost himself up and get aggressive, and he's normally a Jet player. To now see him completely switch up and still make it look good, you know, I think we're going to be seeing this guy for a long, long time.
Yeah, we talk about this man's skill, and it's just good to see that extra level of depth being applied to not just his agent pool, but his playstyle, because it's very different playing the Viper. Now, Crows is in danger. This guy, I mentioned on the desk, maybe didn't perform to the highest standard in the games that they had the other day. This time, well, he's not going to be risking anything. He's just pulling back to the site, allowing his teammates to rotate in, and if they were to just blitz down with their classics, well, they're welcome to. They'd run into a stack. But this is where it gets a bit more difficult, because at this stage of the round, you're not going to want to push up. You don't want to offer up, like, because you know that it's a pack mentality when they've got classics. So if you push up Garage or Long and they happen to have rotated, you're dead. But because they've stacked A, they have to play very passive now on the B and C sites, which gives a lot of space to this team of Crazy Raccoons to just push on through. And yes, they're delayed slightly by the Astra utility, but they still get onto C site with just one player defending it. That player is absolutely mowing them down, though. So not even a plant will be possible with the spike dropped in the open. And now they just clean this one up. Not even a player lost.
Another Prime Gaming flawless round coming through. I feel like that's where you're probably going to get the majority of them, though. Like, those second round purchases of very, very little coming up from the side that didn't manage to win themselves the pistols. So, but good work nonetheless. Like, these are the sort of... Oh.
All right.
Are you kidding?
Okay.
He didn't even see them.
No. I just
timing shots.
That's what spray control gets you. Even he's like, yeah, come on. But you know, 9-5, you get that flawless round. It's huge because now you're able to come in and play a bonus, a hard commit to a bonus. In fact, go even further than that, and they're investing up a little bit. They've got so many credits. So 3 Spectres, a Vandal, and an Operator to play with. This is a pretty good buy, all things considered, and they've still got credits in the tank if they need to play, if they lose this round, for example, because it's definitely not favorable towards them. But they're putting up a really, really good chance for themselves to win a round at very low cost.
Yeah, I think as well, the added bonus of putting this Operator on a Jet, you get enough kills, maybe a sneak and orb in the next round, and you're not playing at a disadvantage anymore. Sure, maybe if you lose it, you lose the Operator, but then you have that Blade Storm instead. Now, Padapan is going to be forced off the angle, but he's got his utility to counter and start to try... Oh, I thought he was just going to push through it there. This guy is a bit of a madman at times, but okay. Just looking to try and reposition his utility, give up that control, but Crazy Raccoon, they're actually not going to play off this, and they have at least forced a player to rotate.
Oh, Sushi, come on, man. This time you can at least see them swinging out for more, and he's going to just back off. Great opening duel, and then in comes the Operator, but Fox misses the shot, receives a lot of damage. Sushi up close, able to deal a lot to Munchkin. He's now super low HP, and the Operator cleans him up from the high ground. The swing by Scary, and that's exactly why he's called that. A 2 versus 1. Rion comes to sight with 10 seconds left. No info really, and now no health to play with. A flank underway. This one is done and dusted, and you see it there with Scary on a triple kill yet again. Double digits for X10.
That was a superb round from him in general. Like, even if you remove the 3 kills that he manages to get, the grab well to keep his teammate alive just before they try and push through the garage, just making all of their rotations so much more awkward. And sure, Rion got a few consolation frags, but it really doesn't matter. That was just an excellent round from Scary. Now, with the bonus victory, they get to come back in, keep that Operator, and start moving towards having all of those ultimates. I think for Crazy Raccoon, unless they can have some sort of miracle thrifty round here, I do not see them coming back in this one.
Yeah, man, I really love Scary. I love watching this guy play the game. Fox knows they're going for that ult door. I could feel the shot through the smoke, but didn't quite get it cocked back in time. And so you're going to have that Blade Storm online for Zephyr. A couple of pistols looking to just poke and prod at the defense, stop them from getting too much space. Padapan's in trouble. He's got to get out of there. You know, when you make those aggressive pushes on the Jet, hey, you can dash, but with the Viper, you don't quite have the same freedom. Munchkin caught trying to sneak up behind the sneaky beaky play, not paying off, and Crows takes him down, but Padapan's right back into it. He's only just gotten his health back, and he's ready to put it on the line again for the team. With an A crunch, that's information early on, but still, the thing that's scaring me isn't Scary, it's the Blade Storm. The fact that Zephyr still has it online, and now they've got the B side. He has a variety of angles that he can play that off of, and now they're going for an aggressive take. There it is. Scary taken down. C side falls. They've got massive control to play from. Now they can back off and hold the choke points as these guys come on through, but the spike is being claimed by X10, and that's a collateral by Fox, closing it with the triple. 2 bullets, 3 kills, and 11 rounds for X10.
I didn't need to do that to them. It's already a 4v3 with weaker weaponry, and then you get the collab. I'm hoping, of course, I was about to say, I'm hoping we've got the replay. I don't need to hope anymore. We brought in the big boys for this event, so yeah, not going to be missing anything for now. And well, it is looking rough. Now, that was, again, just a pistol round, and after plant, gaining at least something in terms of finances. We will come up with a purchase for Crazy Raccoon. More importantly as well, they do have the run it back available. Now, there's a couple of ults still on the other side, but I feel like that's the one with the potential to have the most impact.
This is going to be so important for Crazy Raccoons, and you can see that they can feel the pressure. They're playing it so slow. Zephyr wanted that little peek, and he's lucky to get away with his life the way Fox has been playing this Operator so far. Coming out for a little bit more off the Trailblazer, and here we go. The shot connects. Zephyr got away with it once, but he tempted fate too many times. But it looks like Crazy Raccoons are thinking, hey, let's just go for this A side. Let's go into that Operator again. How good can Fox possibly be? But eventually they decide, maybe pretty good. Let's go elsewhere. And it's good because they've actually dragged a heavy rotation to A side, something that Crazy Raccoons were the victims of again and again. Now they find it much easier to take C.
Already pushing through. That's the running back gone. It's basically lost for destroying a turret, a trade. Probably not worth it. Sushi Boys as well, still just surviving in the corner. It is only going to be 1-for-1, but then the trades just come back thick and fast. It's left onto Neth once again. He's had a couple of attempts at these 1 versus 4s. I can't say I'm a believer, though. Look at the flank. They're going to pincer in from him, surround him on all sides. Although Foxes does peak a little bit early. Hits a second dink, but just overwhelmed in the end. It is going to be another round on the board for X10. Just one away from not just taking their map, but dominating it.
Wow, this is a gorgeous display. And yeah, there's a couple of rounds. Like, I think this is, let me put it this way. I think it's a closer map than it looks like. But at the same time, it's like 8-9 rounds for Crazy Raccoons at best so far. Like, their performance has been good, their adaptations have been there, but then there's just this like individual level that X10 have been able to clutch out a couple of rounds. Solid responses to utility play. So it's like Crazy Raccoons are adapting to X10, but X10 are so quick. You see it when they come out on stage, right? They're dancing around. They're jumping through smoke, you know, they're feeling it. And it's paying off for them, man. The fact that they're able to so quickly, they're like water, adapt to whatever situation they're put in. Well, Crazy Raccoons just can't keep up. At least not on Haven.
No, I definitely have some hopes for Icebox, but for now at least, this is looking like X10 have got their number. The Thai team dominating, and Foxes, he's caught a little bit there. He knows there's somebody waiting around that corner. Just gonna keep the angle held, even elevating himself a little bit. In the meantime, the attackers again looking to try and play towards Garage, but I'm a little bit uncomfortable if they were to make that move again. They've been shut down every time by the utility of Scary, but they have at least managed to force back that aggressive operator for now.
Good response. Really good response in the corner. Not playing too risky. Oh, no. He's being caught by the op again, but it... Okay. Well, that flash, that peek, that adaptation on the fly. I love it. The repositioning comes in once more, but this time, Crazy Raccoons win both fights. 2 swift Vandal headshots, and the lead is suddenly theirs. The spike is planted, and X10 are locked out. They have no flank. They have nothing to really play with a Cosmic Divide just to lock them out even further. And at this stage, I mean, normally we'd say a save, but with how things have been going, you can tell they're just going to send it, go for it, and it is getting torn apart. A great round for Crazy Raccoons. If for nothing else, at least the morale will be a little bit better.
Yeah, I was very, very scared that that round was just going to be Fox's styling on them, because the first opportunities he was getting, like, they just didn't seem to have a counter for the peaks he wanted to make. I think at this stage, though, like, I've seen a fair few Cosmic Divides, which I've hated. That there's been some where teams have ended up screwing themselves. But in this case, unless there was like a hot flank coming in as well, I just don't see any way that they were going to get back into things. Of course, as you sort of mentioned, they have quite a lot of cash. I think that's the first round they've actually lost in this half. So I think they'll be all right to rebuy here.
The spam? Oh, no. In fact, that was an orb taken back. So Fox had an opportunity, and here's what I'm talking about with still controlling your A-long area, but having a jet do it. When you're up against an Astra, it's essential, because once that gravity well comes in, you are trapped. They will run you down. But the reason that Crazy Raccoons don't do that is because they see, oh, well, it's a jet, so she's going to just dash out of there. But the pressure applied gives A-long control to the attackers. Now they have much more to play with. That Cloudburst should bait someone into peeking the majority of the time, or at least into using some info gathering utility. And I think we just saw a flash popped out to ensure there's no one there. Now, though, they still have 3 players on A. This is a very slow rotate by X10. Great information play in the early stages of map seizure from Crazy Raccoons. The only problem is Patapan's now pushing up behind. He has an early flank. Fox doesn't have his dash, so I'm surprised he went for that peek. That was incredibly aggressive. And Patapan's pulling back. He's not committing to the full flank.
Medusa release. That should be information that there's 2 players here. It doesn't matter, though. Zephyr goes for the aggressive take, gets nothing for it, and now they're just being traded out one by one. They're going to try and put down that lockdown to force them back, and Neth, he's actually putting in a real shift here. Another kill comes up for him. Patipan on the flank, though, is more than perfect. It's left all onto the Killjoy to try and clutch them out. We've mentioned him in multiple 1v4s. He needs the 4K here to keep them in this map. Patipan rounding the corner, the time ticking away, the snake bite held back Neth, at least for the moment. He's just playing with the time, doing so well to deny any chance for Patipan, and will even close it with the headshot as well. A fantastic clutch to keep them in the map, but there is still a long way to go.
Yeah, really good work. Patipan's flank was disgusting because you saw him go for it. He started to push forward, then he pulled back. And I'm like, okay, they're just going to go for a B retake together. But the site was already being pressured. He realizes, hey, my rotate's going to take way too long. I have to commit to the flank. But amongst all what I presume was confusion of whether he should go back like he's yo-yoing, he ends up getting the god tier timing because his opponents are thinking, okay, no way they're coming for a flank this late. Why would they? And then he just gets shot in the back. If they lost that round because of it, it would have been infuriating because it's less of a good play by Patipan or more just unreadable chaos that works out. But it didn't work out, at least not fully, with that huge clutch by Wow. Well, you really hate to see that. I suppose not if you're Crazy Raccoons, not if you're a Japanese fan. 5 rounds in between them. Man advantage goes to the attackers, and that flash is so good to convert right after.
Ooh. All right, a little bit of a dirty sheriff shot coming out. Actually, some aggression coming in from behind. They do have to be careful here. Patipan managed a pretty disgusting flank in the last round. I think he's going to have heard all the footsteps of Medusa as well. The alarm bot not going to be doing anything here. Neth has already fallen, but they are going to be watching for him. There's no way Patipan gets anything here. There shouldn't be. There are 2 players watching this angle. Somehow he manages to swing both and not take any damage or much damage at all, but they're just going to try and hold him out. And maybe for him, it might just be an idea to try and get rid of some of their weaponry.
He's done that well. I don't know how he got away with that much. The damage he did tickling them up, surviving out there, and then even grabbing a kill. Disgusting work. But nonetheless, it will be around for Crazy Raccoons, and we talked about X10's economy, and it was looking very, very good in the previous half. But this time around, not so much. Obviously, they've got this Phantom saved over. They'll be able to invest around it if they want to, and I think, you know, that round is one that you don't necessarily expect for X10 to win, but the manner in which they lost some of these opening duels, and these 2 in particular were devastating, really, because they had the right idea. The garage control was being pressured forward. They wanted to pincer off those close-range duels and make use of their weaker weapons, and instead they just got shredded. But they still have a 4-round lead. Crazy Raccoons have the pressure applied to them, and they can't make a single mistake from this point forward.
Yeah, it would need to be 7 rounds in a row total. Zephyr is just going to have to hold on to the corner for a second, but there's no capitalization off of that. The taps through smoke from Crows, not really going to find anything, and they're just picking up the pace. This looks like a fast take into A, Mitch.
It does indeed. Munchkin's already sending it in, getting the information, but Patipan keeps on going straight through his own orb to look for those duels. He goes back and catches them by surprise. And classic out for 3. He's on the backside and eventually taken down. But it's a 2v2 now. This is a winnable situation. The armor stripped from Munchkin after his ultimate was just completely thrown away. Grabbed information that nothing was capitalized on, and the ultimates, oh, they are here to play with. We've also got a Cosmic Divide that can be used to block out Long and potentially get them at least a start on the defuse and force out some early plays. But that is such a good peek by Munchkin. He's going to be in trouble. Detained on the backside, and that is a free kill. But left down to the 1v1, considering the situation, that is very strong. Scary taps it. Player comes out, and the shot connects for Rion. The Battle of the Astras goes to Crazy Raccoons this time around, and they pull it to within 3. This gap closing in. X10, they might finally be feeling that pressure. They committed a lot. That was a great round for Patipan. They used a lot of really impactful ultimates as well to try and pull this round off. And yet, even despite everything that happened in the early stages, they lose the round.
This is one of those rounds as well. I think if it works for myself as well, but if Paper Thin had any head to lose, he would probably be losing it here because that was so stressful from Crazy Raccoon. Like, just the fact that it comes down to one player aggressively peeking in towards the spawn and getting detained and dying, and then the other just running through the Cosmic Divide. Obviously, when you're behind that, all the sound is muffled. You don't know if necessarily if he's tapped, if he's stuck it halfway. So you're just taking a massive risk just to go through it and hope that he's not holding the angle. It does pay off, but yeah, definitely uncomfortable for them. But it's gonna... Oh no. I just looked at the buy. Why, like, after saying I hate this gun, why has this happened? Why are we... If I just want to say, if they close it on this, I might just have to walk off. Like, this might be the moment where I'm just peacing out.
The worst part about this, Tom, is that
they're going to.
This is not a full buy. You look at what they have. They have got really strong weapons. The ability to take a lot of
Padapan gets 3.
And it's on defense as well. Like, on the attack, this would be ludicrous. But on the defensive side, they choose the range at which they take fights. They have the potential to actually pull off a round for free. You know, what would a lot of the time just be an eco. And the important thing here as well is that they've got their utility to play off of as well. If things start to go their way, in fact, I see Padapan is even thinking about immediately dropping that Viper's Pit. Not a bad idea, especially in a round like this. You force any sort of beat control, like you split the map in 2 straight away, because let's put it this way, they're not going to go through that. And if they do, you're going to kill them. What is this guy made of?
He just...
Again through smokes, man.
I can't believe that. He's just pre-fired the orb.
Yeah, but look, Rion's 58 HP as well. He shredded them. Oh, man.
Oh, no. You've also just got this from Padapan, which, yeah, I'm glad this is being highlighted by the observers. Like, what is this? He's halfway down mid, just sat within the Viper's Pit. They're going to try and pressure in. Scary, like, I would expect him to at least get one here. This angle's so hard to clear, especially against the judge. The dash up, though, actually works, but they haven't cleared him. He's still in this corner. They haven't seen him at all. And it's just going to be Scary doubling up. It comes down to one man, Medusa, to save them. I said this will be the round that probably ends it. I hate the judge, but somehow X10 have closed it with that gun. Dear Lord, Mitch.
I need a minute after that one. That is a happy face right there. The complete whiff onto the recon dart, and while that's happening, they're so distracted. They knew Neth, he's playing this site solo all the time. It's a low buy, it's an eco from them. It's probably the Killjoy with a bunch of utility. Let's just rush him down, take him out. They don't even spare a thought for a judge being in that corner, and why would you? What a way to lose a map. Crazy Raccoon started this out at one stage down 7-3, and they made it so competitive. It wasn't even a spam onto the orb. It was a transfer onto a third bullet, seeing the tracer of the Vandal. That is sickening. What a way to close it by X10. They've been nothing if not flashy in this game here.
The thing that's so infuriating as well is you sort of see the faces of Crazy Raccoon afterwards, and you just know that's the face of a man who got headshotted with a sheriff through a smoke. Like, that's the face you make when you've just lost a round to 4 judges. Like, that has just got to be so painful. They need to, of course, go and shake this one off, because it was a rough one, but it wasn't their map choice, Mitch. So that's at least something. Like, they started a little bit of a comeback. They had a long way to grind. They showed that they definitely can match up to them, at least on an individual level, because the way that this started off was looking really, really rough.
Yeah, they're not going to be thinking about that, you know, the actual arc of the game, at least for another minute or two. They're going to need to let that kind of settle in, how they just lost that map. But once the disappointment and the fury of how they lost dissipates, they're going to realize, you know what? We actually made a really good attempt at that. Because honestly, Tom, I was getting the feeling that this map was just going to be super one-sided. You know, we're at 7-3. It had been so strong from X10. They won all the important rounds. And you're thinking, all right, listen, they're denying map control. They're constantly defeating any sort of attempt the Crazy Raccoons have to try and adapt. They try to do something new, even that it works, like the recon into the Cloudburst. And then they just get torn apart by like a 3K, like we saw from Padapan towards the end of the game here. These constant individual plays got them out of a lot of sticky situations. Their game plan was good. Everything about X10 on this map was great to watch. And then Crazy Raccoons towards like the second quarter, step it up, they make the comeback, and that's going to be great morale-wise coming into the next map once they get over the fact that they lost to a 4 judge and a sheriff buy.
Well, I think the other thing as well that might become a little bit boring for the desk is just having to highlight Padipan in every single segment, because I'm pretty sure he top fragged on Viper, which we've not seen, and using multiple different weapons and just getting aggressive in a lot of different rounds. So I think a much better team performance overall. Like, I think as well, it's worth highlighting players like Scary. I think his utility usage in a lot of different scenarios was superb. So I'm looking forward to see more from him, especially going into the next map where they're going to have a lot of changes comp-wise. But either way, as we said, it is now down to Crazy Raccoon to try and make the comeback, but at least it goes into a map which they're very comfortable on as well.
Exactly. And we said, we're expecting it to be a bit of a turnaround coming into Icebox, even when they were looking pretty poor on Haven. So hopefully after that burst of rounds, they're going to be looking a whole lot better. And I got to say, some of the things that were being pointed out by Potter, for example, on the desk, she was saying like she wants to see a lot more buddy system coming in, wants to see Munchkin not playing a solo. And coming into Icebox, definitely I'll expect to see those changes being made. But we have to wait a little bit. And you know what? It's time for casters stop talk and analysts start talk. We're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, the AD will break down that map for you. See you soon.
Someone call Arnold, because it's Judgment Day. That's right. I went there. Welcome back, everyone, to the studio. Golden Boy here alongside my analyst as we break down that game. I mean, that was Potter, that was just ridiculous. What a way to close out the game, right? We were in the comms, we were talking, it was like, surely they don't commit to 4 judges here, but gosh darn it, they done did it.
They done did it indeed. And you're right. It was Judgment Day. You think Sushi Boys was backside missing that dart on accident? No. It was all calculated. He was making these guys funnel into the site to perfectly tee up Scary, who was in the corner with that judge, and just mow them down. It was honestly beautifully played from X10 through and through. From the first half, Patafan completely just controlling all of the A main, long A, short A with the Viper, cleverly utilizing that wall and the orb to just deny info. And without info, you saw it. Crazy Raccoons didn't know exactly where to go. Munchkin tried his damnedest, trying to poke and prod and find that info. But man, just X10, slow and steady, won the race.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and start things off here with our Prime Gaming map highlights, because we're getting close to map 2, and there is going to be a lot to discuss. This game basically started, I would say, from the beginning, from the compositions, right? You know, Potter, we were seeing these stylistic differences. What was really cool is we were getting a difference of how to play Viper from Patafan, who, by the way, doesn't really play Viper that much. So that was kind of cool to see that they're mixing up these compositions.
Yeah, exactly. And not only are we seeing his personality in the server and outside the server with his intros and what have you, but we're seeing something diverse. Yesterday, he was very aggressive, consistently poking and prodding and pushing the issue, really. Today, we're seeing a slow and calculated approach with his Viper, and that stylistic difference you're talking about. Yesterday, we saw version 1 from NA using the Viper mollies, the Viper kit, to delay the post-plant times. This time around, from Patafan, he was utilizing the Viper kit to deny the map control, deny little corners and crevices, so that they can never have that sort of information. So really clever stuff coming out from both different styles, and man, Patafan, the guy's a beast.
You know what's even better is that on defense, he wasn't using something that every single Viper does on Haven, because so far the standard play on defense is to use the wall on A and B and set up the Toxin Orb on long C, so you have every single entrance covered apart from the garage door, which then is being taken over by an example Killjoy. But here, he was doing something else. He was using the Toxin Orb to get orb control for the sky, so they can feed the ultimate. That was being done consistently almost every single round on defense. And then he was repositioning the orb either for defense, or he was using it for pushes. And that was one successful push on the A lobby, when he just used it deep into the A garden, went into it, and just basically extended all the angles when he can exit and got an easy kill on the opponent. So well played by Patafan. He is actually bringing a little bit, you know, stylistic differences, as just Potter said, to the Viper in our compositions here at VCT.
All right, Paper, then before we get into the matchup, I want to get your reactions on Crazy Raccoon real fast. What do you think they have to do? Because honestly, it seemed like Munchkin was just uncomfortable on the Phoenix from our perspective.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we talked about coming into this, right, from Munchkin was his utility usage on Raze. He had a few mishaps with it, and here on Phoenix, it just really wasn't that impactful for the most part. We didn't really see many blaze walls that were effective. Curveballs at times just flat out not used when they could have been on pushes into garage or things like that, and sometimes they were a little sloppy when he was doing it. His run-it-backs were rarely effective at all, and I was kind of curious to see how this would pan out. I thought run-it-backs might be a decent kind of counter to the Viper pit, but it was just never really able to be used in any of effective manner for him. So that I was pretty surprised to see him go on Phoenix for this. He's only used Phoenix once in the last 60 days. In fact, the last 90 days. So this is something that was, a bit of a curveball, like, you know, literally here for him, but it just wasn't effective. I mean, what could he say? He wasn't able to get it done.
Yeah, you'd like to see the curveballs go the way of Munchkin, you know, talking about, you know, the ability, because he's using Phoenix. In any case, so that is going to put a bow on map 1. And now Crazy Raccoon are so close to being sent home. Can X10 do it? Let's send it over to your casters. Got Mitchman. I'm pretty sure Tombiz said he was going to quit after that judge play. I don't know if he's still there, but I'll let you take it away, Mitch.
all by my lonesome. Tom is out of the building. He's left. He's gone home. Really didn't like that judge play, did you, Tom?
No, this is Tom Bizzle. Tom Biz has actually left. So, no, it's clearly my alter ego. I actually love judges, you know? It's such a well-balanced and I can't even carry it on. But yeah, it's one of those rounds where you just look at it and you somehow know that they're going to make it work. And I think that was what we saw quite a lot from X10 is they had these plays that a lot of the time it looked like Crazy Raccoon had a decent idea, had some decent counters, were working the map well, and then just something happened that just completely threw them amok. And I think a lot of it came down to Padapan once again. Now, going into this map, especially on the attack side, I hope that we're not seeing him change up his agents too much, because I really like those more aggressive jet plays we see from him.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's been a staple of the Icebox play in general. But after the big shift that we've seen on Haven, I'm expecting that there will be some changes. The Cypher over the Killjoy could definitely remain, but even we have the question of, do they pull out a Sage? That could see a bit of a shift up in how they want to approach this map. There's so many different directions that they can take it, but it's also pretty hefty risk. If you make a change here that you've only had a couple of days to practice, it can come back to bite you for sure. And here's the agent select brought to you by Prime Gaming coming up on our screens, and we can see a couple of the lock-ins coming over for Crazy Raccoons. And indeed, we're going to see a Sage coming out on Munchkin.
Well, they've got the Breach coming out as well on the other side of things for Crows. So both teams, again, we're going to see some changes made for the rosters. I like the fact that we're seeing these adaptations, especially, and considering that we saw Crazy Raccoons already play this map, and again, are still going to try and make those adaptations to try and basically throw off their opponents a little bit. I think it's going to make for a very exciting game. However, I'll be interested to see how all of this is actually utilized. We know that for Crazy Raccoon especially, like the way that we see these executions work, a lot of the time they were, I guess, struggling that a little bit more. And also, I believe previously they'd actually not played the Viper as well. So This is actually drastic.
Yeah, this is one of the points that we were criticizing, and I think just in general from the broadcasting, the desk, from the casters, was not playing a Viper on Icebox. Big mistake a lot of that time. But coming into the map, we will see that for Crazy Raccoons, and let's see how that plays out for them. Starting on the defensive side, we've already had a bit of a scuffle down towards B long, but immediately afterwards, X10 are shifting their focus, moving to the A side with a little bit of a lurk. A sneaky beaky play coming in courtesy of Padapan on that signature jet. He's hearing the steps, he hears the rotations, but he also knows that there's a turret in play here. Perhaps a cloudburst on top of it to sneak on through. We'll see exactly what he decides to do as the A side is under threat and being overrun. The cage, the cam, and Sushi Boy wants to make a big play. Let's see if he can do anything. Oh, this is going to potentially be huge. I thought he was going through the cage off the cam, but no, instead he's going to tuck in because they've already got the opening duel.
He's managed to bypass the turret completely. They even know he's here, but it just doesn't matter. It's going to be a couple of kills off the backlines, and Scary to close it out as well. The patience of Padapan will be enough in this round for them to actually take the close. And, well, the start that they were looking for once again, I think that's them just basically rocking it in almost every single pistol so far.
This has overall been an interesting pistol, let's say. I think the main point for me is Padapan. I'm fairly certain that they had actually seen him with the turret even, because there was a moment where one of the players turned and looked behind, but then his teammate called, "I'm watching it, don't worry, like I've got it." So he pushed into main instead, but those duels were just lost one after another. And with Scary having a perfectly placed snake bite, it's so easy on a pistol round. When somebody's hit by that snake bite and you've got a ghost up close, easiest round of your life.
I'm definitely keeping my eyes on Crows here, because I think this is one of the maps that we really don't see much breach whatsoever. Like it's a bit of an odd choice, especially because of how sort of open some of the sites are. Getting that utility really being put to use, I think, will be quite difficult, but I'm definitely interested to see how he makes it work. And that's the thing. It's going to be something a lot of teams won't have played against before, because it just isn't common at all. Now, it is going to be this execution once again. Something we've seen quite a lot from them is these deeper walls. Give them a bit of extra space, clear out some of the closer angles before they get themselves the plant. And Scary will do just that.
Oh, that's so nasty. Zephyr able to force a close-range duel, grabbing himself the kill, and Scary in a bit of trouble in those close-range fights, but Patapan's here to save the day. Even goes up for more, in for 4, looking for the ace, but he's taken down by Munchkin eventually. Absolutely farming as he walks away with Blade Storm out of this round. Munchkin does regen up his health. He picks up a Spectre, so not the worst round overall. If he can get another kill, that would be amazing. But ultimately, time is going to be very low. Winning the round is next to impossible, and he will just be sideswiped by Crows. As a really interesting point as well, Tom, because the Sova and the Sky combination is very strong and very highly regarded, at least within the European region, by the majority of teams. If not both, then at least one. And certainly Sky as a flasher and information seeker is huge right now. So there must be something unique, a unique spin that Crows, or at least X10, have seen with this breach. And we'll be keeping a very close eye on exactly how that's utilized coming throughout this game.
I think especially going into A-site execution, like maybe just the denial of space for teams, especially on the defensive side, could be quite interesting. Now, I'm going to have to shut up and stop theorizing because Patapan, well, he doesn't have any breaks. He's just going to go running straight in. He's actually got a Bucky as the combo as well. Like, I both love and hate this man at the same time because it just seems like he's running all of those old weapons, all of those guns that maybe necessarily shouldn't work. They are going to get a very easy plant once again, though, and it's going to come down to a full retake from Crazy Raccoon, and they have no flank. This is coming all directly from the same angle.
The bonus round for X10, one where they shouldn't be doing nearly as much damage in terms of the early round impact of just getting the site and now setting themselves up for close range duels. That's where things like the Bucky can get a lot of value. Ooh, Patapan, he almost goes down on his way out, but he'll survive just a few seconds longer as Zephyr takes him out. Here we go with the spike being diffused. The denial comes in with utility, and Scary in a 1 versus 3 actually has the potential to deny this even further. Down comes the snake bite. The orb is up, and they can't get the diffuse. The time is too low. He's actually won the round. He's got 3 kills, and the spike explosion confirms that a 3rd round is there for X10. What a phenomenal clutch by Scary, and proving yet again, Viper in post plants is a scary thing to deal with.
Yeah, an incredible play as well. And it's something that we've seen so often, the Red Bull clutch coming through for Scary. And the problem is, like, this has to be something that you're aware of, especially after the first one comes in. You need to be closing him down. I guess the kill onto Zephyr just denied any chance of that. And, well, we're seeing once again that it seems like in all of these clutch situations, in all of these close rounds, it's just X10 coming out on top. And that's another round where they've managed to close out the bonus. Worth mentioning as well that they have actually won every single pistol so far in this series. So getting off to a flying start each time.
Yeah, they're really propelling themselves into the lead. And the impact of pistol rounds in MR12, if you're able to follow up, of course. If you lose a force by right after, it's not so much. And Shock Dart is interesting because it's come in from the defenders, possibly not hitting the mark that they expected it to. Net, nonetheless, is still able to do some damage, some serious damage, in fact, taking down Sushi Boys before the trade is eventually there. The man advantage now resides with Crazy Raccoons, and Medusa, well, he's not happy with just that, but a whiffed shot. It pulls X10 back into the lead in a ranged fight. Vandal versus Sheriff. Well, that is a predictable victor who comes away with it. Zephyr hasn't been spotted. That's a free kill. Okay, now we're down to a 2 versus 2. The flash comes out, but doesn't receive much. Inside of the Viper's pit, they are safe to get this plant, but they're scared. They're scared of Rion dropping right on top of them and dealing with them right away, and instead they'll walk out of the pit backwards into the Sheriff, and Rion very nearly whiffs that one completely, walking away with the kill, but so too does Crows, and the rotate to B is going to be treacherous. Zephyr is already on his way, but he doubles back. He's going to instead go below the tube. It costs him an extra couple of seconds. He won't be there in time to deny the plant, but perhaps to catch him on the way back. No, just a second too late. He knows he's up above. He heard the rope, and there we go. Zephyr gets it done just about. Good rotation by him and good patience to not feel baited in to making an overly aggressive play, pulling it 3-1. Crazy Raccoon's first round on the board at last.
Yeah, and a big gamble from them in the early setup. We can already see, like, with the A-site defense, 3 players there ready and waiting. Neff is someone as well that I've been impressed with, even just going back through into some of the more regional stuff. I think he's someone who's excellent at just isolating individual duels. His positioning seems to be on point in the majority of cases. And while Zephyr with the knives, you're going to expect him to at least get a kill or 2. Of course, on the other side of things now, though, X10, it's not bad. Like, they've still got an investment, of course. Crow's going to drop down a little bit just to make sure he can have all of that extra utility. And they do have themselves the ultimate as well. So still a chance for them to try and steal this one back. I am looking at Zephyr, though, because what this man can do with the operator could be enough to shut this down.
Oh, it definitely could be. We've seen it in the past. Starting it out, an operator shot rings through, but no kill on the board. Medusa forced into the open, now 27 HP, and they still check the corner despite the aftershock already clearing it. This is a little bit tough. Atapan drops down from above again, an off shot ringing, but no connection. And I'm starting to get a little bit worried. It looks like Crazy Raccoons will have to play a retake on this one, and if they push on through, Patapan's position will almost certainly catch them off guard. Odd that he has a Guardian in this spot, but hey, if it works, it works. And let's see if it does. They're baiting it out. They suspect he could be close, and now dealt with. The man advantage comes back to Warp them for just a second. Oh my God, Crows. That was nasty with the headshots, and now they have the advantage. It looks like they have the round. Neth again needs a double. The first goes his way, but Scary saves the day. 4-1. Chaining rounds together seems impossible for Crazy Raccoons.
Yeah, this is just turning into an A-site simulator again. Something we saw in the very early days of this map is just teams just constantly pushing and pressuring. And to be honest, in most cases at the moment, we are seeing Crazy Raccoon just crumble under this pressure. Now, I would say, Mitch, I do still expect both teams to pull off more rounds when it comes to that attacking side. So I'm not overly worried for them just yet, but there needs to be some sort of adaptation, some sort of resurgence, because even when they're putting 3 players there, they're still losing a lot of those battles.
Yeah, that's very true. And that cannot be the case moving forward. I mean, you're going to walk away with a handful of rounds at best if things keep up the way that they are. And for X10, they're not looking for one weakness that they can exploit again and again. They don't want to make this easy for Crazy Raccoons to adjust to. And so instead, they're going to move towards the B site. But remember, this is where there was a decent bit of impact with weaker weapons. We saw a couple of kills, most notably Zephyr down below in the tube. And X10, they've taken ranged fights. They've lost a player right away. And now they're stalling. They're slowing it down. They're looking to try and really make the range work for them. But so far, nothing's going their way. Crazy Raccoons are avoiding making the same mistakes they did previously of just massively overextending into these unfavorable duels.
And they've also got an awful lot of ultimates here. Lockdown, Hunter's Fury, Viper's Pit, even a Res if they need it. So this is a round that, sure, economically, they're not in a great spot. Not many credits. But they could still make things painful and maybe even steal it. Now, this fake has been sold fantastically well by Fox. There's absolutely no one on a gamble in the rotations from Crazy Raccoon. And instead, they're going to have to face off against this after plant. Nice shot, though, from Rion. That's Scary gone. And now this becomes a real possibility as that after plant is nowhere near as strong. The only thing they have to deal with is going to be Sova.
Now, there's definitely a possibility, Fox unable to connect it in the back lines, and here comes the Hunter's Fury, a free kill, but they know exactly what they're doing. Sticking it halfway, now it's time to get on it yet again, and it looks like it's theirs. Well handled by Crazy Raccoons. They're not afraid to lose a weapon or two, to lose a player, as long as they win the round. And Neth, well, he even makes it more costly and hurt that little bit extra, taking down 4 players in the end. And X10, well, they won't be walking away with a smile on their face after that one.
Yeah, I'm almost starting to wonder for Crazy Raccoon, the same that we said on the last map, if they do need to start being a little bit more proactive, because that is twice now where we've seen them catch the rotations, get all of that earlier info, gamble into some of the sites, and just take some fairly big risks because they're playing with the pistols. And it works. Like, it works well. They win that round with very, very little invested. They actually only ended up using one of the ultimates that they had as well. So they still have a lot stacked up going forward into this one. Now, Zephyr, I think he might have heard my call a little bit. Looking to try and take some of that early control, go for a bit of an early peak. On the other side, it looks like a slow walk into B, and there's not really anybody spotting.
Yeah, they're not going to make the same noise that they did previously, completely giving away the game plan, instead creeping up on Rion, and looks like he was asleep at the wheel. Patapan is the one to take him down with a wallbang headshot. I mean, a toe shot would have done it. He was so low on HP. The recon deep won't get anything. They've already backed off. They'll destroy it anyways, but it would have seen next to nothing. And I like this. Cruz just waiting to pop this flash as they come on through that Viper wall, or as it fades down. This is really good. They're probably going to pop it up and peek on through with a flash in hand, but the wall is in play. Here comes the Viper's pit. It's already halfway stuck. They're going to get it the full way and win the round out. Another one taken out from underneath X10's nose. That has got to hurt. These ninja diffuses are actually sick, and one of the downsides of not burning your opponent's utility in the early rounds is how much they have to work with when they come in for the retakes.
Yeah, that's what we've seen, actually, is the sort of adaptation is that, okay, we don't need to use all of this utility in these fakes, and wow. Zephyr, it seems like he's coming into his own a little bit. We need to see the stars step up for Crazy Raccoon as well. In terms of investment, the operator's going to be back in his hands. We are starting to see some fairly impactful ultimates on the other side of things as well, though. The Blade Storm for Panipan if he needs it. The Rolling Thunder as well, which we've already seen utilized to try and clear the site. And I actually think the Crow's utility so far, just for clearing out some of the angles, popping players into position, it's been fairly decent. I can see the theory behind it. Oh, what is...
Yeah, I mean, between Nets, double kill in the previous round, and Patapan there. Oh, and Patapan here as well, just rushing forward, really applying pressure on another level, but he gets punished for it. The Blade Storm popped, and so too is he. Taking out Sushi Boy up above, jumping, and Medusa punishes it. Oh, he's just getting free kills now. They're trying to play super confident and aggressive, and it isn't working out. Well, it was on everyone except for Medusa. He seems to be the kryptonite to this kind of play. And now X10, okay, they've got control, but where do they go with it? It looks like Fox is going to create a little bit of space by pushing down through Tube, and a long rotation will take place to the B site, where they currently, and from the start of the round, have their Viper wall in play. But it won't really be necessary if Fox is able to shut them down on the rotate.
He's in such a strong position, giving his teammates the chance to take the site almost for free. They're going to hear the plant, but they don't know that he's in such an aggressive spot, and actually looks to continue this, almost just baiting them in to fight him while he just falls back and makes sure his teammates are kept safe. They've also got the Viper's Pit, which makes this retake all the more impossible, especially when you have an operator. Like, you'd have to hit a 1 in a million shot to catch a player through this. Luckily, we are seeing the comeback of Medusa. A pretty slow game from thus far, but 3 kills already in this round.
Well, there's the possibility. Maybe he'll take it all the way. Zephyr's not in the best spot. Well, when he's shot in the back, it's a little bit worse. Medusa, look at the decay. He's taking so much of it as he walks out and barely misses Scary, who gets the perfect timing on him. This is getting tough. You know, Crazy Raccoons, that round right there looked like they had it or looked like it was going to X10. Medusa pulls off a great 2 and then 3K, and it's like, okay, you know what? They can take it. But obviously retaking into a Viper's Pit with an operator especially, you're basically not in the round. Like, pending no huge mistakes of your opponents, you're already out of that one. And, well, when you're shot in the back like that, it seals your fate pretty quickly.
Going to be another on the board. I am enjoying these sort of like late round rotations. As I said, that was one of the main things I was critical of this X10 roster previously, was when it came down to their mid rounds, they just seemed to make big mistakes, give away advantages, and almost just hand kills back over to Vikings. In this case, though, they've actually had some solid rotations back. I will say the early stages of the last round are some of the weirdest kills I've ever seen, like the jump across to the site, a player getting killed stuck on the zip line, just going across. I'm not sure that Munchkin's going to be too happy about that one. Well, we haven't said too much about him in this game so far. We talked about him as one of the highlight players. We know his raise is always pretty impactful. But so far, his Sage has been a little bit more silent.
Yeah, definitely a quieter game in that regard. We'll see if he's able to pull it off. We definitely know he's capable coming into the future. I like those wall bangs coming on in. What a timing as well for it, you know, spamming through, getting your frags and pushing them off. They don't even get the spike planted. X10 are sat there wondering what is going on, as they have to now rotate or commit to a site where there's pistols up close, ready to decimate them. Sushi Boys gets caught trying to rotate through middle. This is tough. This is a really tough round now to play out for X10 because they've got no information, but more importantly, Tom, they've got no time. 20 seconds, it's time to go.
And it looks like the rotation as well from Crazy Raccoon is almost spot on. They've got the whole team here, the whole crew just rolling around. And Medusa, he's just gonna deck 2 with the pistol. How did they do this? Is that 3 out of their 4 rounds now that they've won with pistols? I don't know. What's the point? Why are they buying?
Just save your money, man. Just save it.
Get the judge.
Get the judge. Oh, stop. Stop. Come on. No, it's all about the sheriff. And that's been the name of the game. It comes down to Crazy Raccoon so far. Pistol play. And Medusa as well. He's had a couple of really, really good rounds. I also like that finisher there by Munchkin. He really brings out the play that we saw him, we saw his Sage for on Ascent on the previous day, where he's just like walling up and running at them. But he's doing it much less here. A much more comfortable overall position. Much more passive, I suppose, really, when it comes down to his play. And perhaps just giving X10 a lot of respect so far, especially with the way that we've seen Scary and Patapan play these early duels.
We are going to see X10 calling attack. You might be thinking that, okay, 5-4, not a bad scoreline, but with the way the economy's going, with the way that they're losing a lot of these, like, I would say poor anti-eco rounds, like not really trading too effectively, and just taking risks in individual duels that I just don't think they need to be making when they have such a weaponry advantage. Also, by the looks of it, I know we sort of spoke about like the Cypher, like maybe not needing that Sage Wall. The amount of kills that they are now losing or failing with those plants, I think it's been an issue. And I do think that being on that attack side, having that extra Sage Wall available to you just to try and deny those pistols from doing any damage, I think it could have changed some of the rounds.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And, you know, realistically, the funniest thing about this for me is that X10 are able to come back into rounds where they're down and out in the start. They're finding these trades that are going towards Crazy Raccoons. And when it comes to rounds that they should be closing out, like almost definitely, like versus Pistols, for example, they are incapable. That's the really strange thing. And I think, honestly, perhaps they're providing or giving a little bit too much respect to their opponents when they're on those pistols, in that they're trying to play it like a buy round. They're trying to play much more like, you know, wall off B, go up, wall it, and pop your plant. But that's where the pistols will take these crazy risks and go for aggressive peaks. In this early round, we saw an op peak attempted, not connected by Zephyr. But it's good info. They know there's players outside of A, and the Rolling Thunder actually connects to all 3 players. Sushi Boys able to catch a kill on the back of it. The walled up Munchkin gets nothing for his troubles. The Odin up close. Oh, God, Medusa. He almost got caught. This is looking a little bit scary, honestly, for the full bot side of Crazy Raccoons. Pistols are tearing them apart.
Spike down A.
He's gone back to himself. They've actually burnt out on ultimate as well. The lockdown being